and loot, our quest begun in lands uncharted under the sun. With dice in hand, our fate will mold in the tapestry of tales, our stories told. Trials dire and treasures untold. Together we stand brave and bold.
Hello. Welcome.
Just go away.
What?
Not you, them.
Who?
Hey, Elmo thinks that you guys should stick around and listen to us. Just
Holy fuck!
I know you weren't looking at me.
That caught me off, dude. I'm like sitting in position ready for this shit, and then you're just,
hi, everybody.
I'm just like, what the fuck?
Hi, everyone. I can't do many voices. Like that's like one of them that I've always been able to do at least, mediocre.
I can't do any voices.
That killed me. That actually killed me. I'm dead. You're gonna have to find another third. God damn.
Welcome. Andrew is still missing. Somebody please send out a fucking
Search.
bolo for him. That
Jesse,
needs to
what's
be
he
on the
doing?
lookout.
Well, he hasn't. Remember, he's in a cocoon and he hasn't quite transformed into a beautiful butterfly.
He hasn't digivolved into the butterfree yet.
Yeah.
The metapod, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe he's out there collecting pollen. The thing is, when he comes out as a butterfly, he's got like max 2 weeks. Butterflies die like pretty quick, and they don't. Sometimes butterflies don't even have mouths to eat. They have no mouth. Their just entire goal is to breed and die. Did you know that?
What the fuck?
So let's hope that Andrew doesn't come back as that.
Well, that fits the theme of this. Let's get to it.
Yeah,
Dark and twisted. Let's go.
just picking right back up with part 2 of Dr. Charlie Hargrove's pocket episode.
Because it's full of shit. Oh boy.
Not
Jeez.
like the actual, but
No.
Not yet, anyway.
oh,
Somebody might poop their pants. You never know.
someone's gonna be a fucking
I'm,
scat queen or
Charlie's-
whatever the fuck.
Yikes.
I don't know. I just
He
feel
starts moonlighting as a dominatrix. Things happen,
listen, caps are caps.
That doesn't. Oh, poor Paul.
Paul's gonna find.
She's gonna
that's a
fucking
pocket-
sell 'em.
Hold up, that's a pocket episode that's coming out. In the
Yikes.
future, look out for that. Paul wanders into a dungeon. We don't know what happens.
You ran into Elmo's cousin Amul.
Amo.
You came to the wrong wasteland.
Yeah, just whatever Elmo is backwards.
Jesus Christ! I didn't realize that's what you said.
Paul just stared at me, uncertain. Unsure if that was Michael or Paul. It's hard to say.
Little column A, little column B.
Yeah,
scary.
yeah. All right. Well,
Let's
Back
not
to the
talk about
lab.
it. Let's be about it.
let's see. The sound of distant alarms echoes through the stark, sterile corridors of the facility. The walls, once filled with excitement, are nothing but dull, oppressive, lifeless. Dr. Hargrove walks quickly down the hall, her footsteps echoing in silence as she approaches the observation room. Dr. Hatch stands, staring through the window at the young man they counseled what feels like ages ago. There's tension between them, thick and palpable. The weight of their failure is heavy in the air. Dr. Hargrove checks her data pad one more time before losing it. What the hell is going on, Hatch? The test subject's vitals are off the charts. This was supposed to be controlled, contained.
It was contained. This is a perfect storm of variables. You can't predict everything. There were always going to be risks, Hargrove.
This was your idea, Hatch. You pushed for the accelerated process. You said the risks were minimal. You told me it'd be fine.
Oh, so now it's my fault? You were right there with me. We approved this together. Remember? We both knew the stakes.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was going to take him so far out of control. I didn't want to push us past the point of no return. You did.
Don't act like you weren't on board, Hargrove. You were just as eager as I was. We both signed off on this. But now you want to throw me under the bus?
Do you even care what's happening to him? Look at him. He's dying.
He's not dying, Hargrove. Not in the way we thought. This is something else now. It's not supposed to happen this fast. I don't...
You know what, Hatch? This is torture. We're breaking people. We're not saving them. We're not doing anything but creating monsters.
You think I don't know that? You think I don't feel like shit about it? But we're trapped, Charlie. They're all watching us, waiting for results, waiting for success. Every test, every failure, it's all on us now. There's no one else left to blame.
Enough.
Shouting at each other isn't going to fix
this. Do you think they won't notice? Do you think anyone out there gives a damn about our personal issues? The only thing they care about is results. And right now, we don't have the luxury of fighting amongst ourselves.
You want us to keep going after this? Look at him. Look what we've done.
I see it. I know exactly what's happening. But you're both missing the point. This is bigger than us, bigger than him. This is the future, Charlie. We're too far in. If we stop now, if we back out, everything we've done, every life we've taken, every test we've run, will be for nothing. We don't have the luxury of morality anymore.
So, you're saying we finish it, no matter what?
It's not just a choice anymore, Hatch. It's survival. They want results. We give them results. That's how this ends.
We're all broken now. There's no going back.
There never was.
It started as an exercise. The idea was sound. Create leaders who could rise above weakness. Emotions are a liability. In the harsh world we're preparing for, we need people who can make decisions without hesitation, without the distractions of loyalty, love, or doubt. The emotional manipulation study would break down the things that bind people together, family, friendships, empathy, and replace it with unwavering loyalty to the Enclave. And for a while it worked. The subjects, I watched them fall into line. They shed their emotions like an old skin. They embraced the teachings, the indoctrination. Some of them even became remarkably effective, efficient, cold, driven. They stopped questioning orders, stopped caring for anyone but their mission. They became tools. But when I look at their faces now, I see something darker. Hollow eyes, minds that no longer seem to process anything other than what they've been told. There's no humanity left in them. They're not people anymore, they're automations. A few of them still manage to function, but most of them are dead or broken. They lash out, unable to control the rage of losing their own humanity. Some even killed themselves, unable to cope with what we've done to them. But the successes are undeniable. The price? What is the price of creating someone who can function without feeling, without the ability to care about anything outside of the mission? These people, these agents of the Enclave, they will never know true connection again. And I don't know if I will either. I think of the faces I've seen, the lost, hollow eyes, and I can't stop asking myself, was it worth it? The weeks that followed were a slow, aching unraveling of Dr. Hargrove's resolve. She had watched the emotional manipulation study evolve from theory into a chilling reality. Soldiers stripped of compassion, reshaped into unwavering tools of the Enclave. And though the data reflected undeniable success, success had never looked so hollow. The faces of her subjects haunted her, empty, obedient, broken. Each day she told herself that this was necessary, a sacrifice for the greater purpose. But every flicker of a hollowed-out gaze, that purpose felt further away. Dr. Reynolds saw it too. His presence had become a quiet comfort in those nights spent reviewing data that told a truth neither of them wanted to accept. He didn't say much, but his steady, weathered voice carried weight when he did.
Progress doesn't mean much if you can't live with what you've built,
He told her once, his voice low and tired. It lingered with her longer than she wanted to admit. Hargrove tried to bury it. The nagging voice in her head, the one that whispered that they weren't creating heroes, they were building puppets. The Enclave didn't want leaders, they wanted weapons. And the more they succeeded, the less human those weapons became. But something shifted in her. The line between success and failure blurred until it shattered entirely. One night, after hours of staring into cold, sterile reports, she made a choice. She couldn't keep watching them hollow these people out. The next phase wasn't in the protocol. It wasn't sanctioned. It wasn't even science anymore. It was desperation. Hargrove began working in secret, rewiring the very core of the study. Not to break them down, but to pull them back from the edge, to make them human again. She reintroduced empathy, slowly, carefully, small moments barely noticeable at first. A story from home, a reminder of why they signed up, a connection to something beyond the mission. They began to remember, to feel. And when they felt, they didn't break. They fought harder. They were smarter, faster, sharper than before. They weren't soldiers. They were leaders. And for the first time in months, Hargo felt hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could fix what they started. But hope, she would soon learn, was a dangerous thing to carry in the Enclave. I did it. I fucking did it. I saved them. I brought them back. I managed to preserve the one thing the Enclave keeps trying to strip away like it's nothing: empathy. These people, these subjects, they were human again. They felt, they cared. They cared. They were stronger for it. They were more capable than any machine they could have ever created. They were ready to lead with compassion, with understanding, not just follow orders, not just kill. But none of that matters, because they didn't want that. The order came down today. Terminate all remaining subjects. The emotional attachment is too strong. We cannot risk weakness. Eliminate them all. I couldn't believe it. I read those words again and again like some sick joke. How could you do this? How could they not see? What is wrong with them? These people were capable. They had real potential. They could lead. They could help rebuild the world. But no. To the Enclave, it was never about rebuilding. It was about control. It was about stripping away anything that made them human and turning them into fucking machines. Obedient little soldiers who do what they're told, no questions asked. And that's all they'll ever be. That's all they want. I fought it. I argued. I begged. I told them what I'd seen. That these people, these leaders, had strength to inspire. They had a vision. They had the power to unite. To make the Enclave stronger. But they didn't care. They just saw weakness. Weakness, weakness, weakness in their eyes. Well, fuck that. What's weak about feeling? What's weak about being able to think for yourself? What's weak about being able to lead with compassion instead of fear? They don't want leaders. They want puppets. And now they're dead. Every single one of them terminated, erased. I can still see their faces. I can still hear their voices. They were human again. They trusted me. And now they're gone. I can't stop fucking seeing it. What I did, what I tried to do, I thought I was saving them. I thought maybe I could be different. I thought I could fix this. Change this fucking system. But no. I guess I couldn't. I guess I didn't. I tried to tell myself that I still have a purpose here. I've tried to convince myself that I can still make a difference. But how? How the hell am I supposed to keep going, knowing this is what they want? This is what they always wanted. Cold, unfeeling, uncompromising. I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know how much longer I can pretend that I'm not just as fucked up as they are. But maybe I'll keep going. Because at least that means I'm not one of them. At least I'm still fighting for something. Fuck them. Fuck this. I'll find a way to turn it around. I'll have to. But I don't know how much longer I can stand by and watch people die just because they feel too much.
Charlie, I heard about the order.
They killed them. They killed all of them. They were human again, and they still called it weakness.
You gave them something the Enclave never wanted them to have. Compassion. They were never going to let that stand.
But they could have been leaders. They could have rebuilt something better than this machine. They trusted me, Dr. Reynolds, and I couldn't stop it.
You did more than anyone else ever could. You gave them back their humanity. That's more than the Enclave will ever understand. But Charlie, you need to stop. If they find out what you did, what you tried to do, it won't end with a demotion. They'll call you a traitor. And they'll make an example of you.
Maybe I deserve it.
Don't you dare say that. You are worth more than this twisted mission they've trapped us in. But you have to survive. You can't help anyone if you're dead. Play their game, Charlie, for now. Keep your head down, do the work, and live long enough to find another way. You're too smart, too damn stubborn to let this be the end.
And what if there isn't another way? What if this is all there is?
Then we make one, together. But only if you're still here to fight for it. Get some rest, Charlie. You'll need it.
I can't deny it. This is everything I have worked for. The thrill I feel today, beyond words. I've been appointed lead psychologist for Project Apex, the project that will define the future of Enclave's military. I've always known this day would come, but I didn't expect it to be this project, or so soon. The other doctors and officers, they look at me with respect, even awe, and I've earned it. This is the pinnacle of my career. I can see it now, the perfect soldier, trained, conditioned, engineered to follow orders with unwavering loyalty. Every step of this process, from genetics to psychology, is about shaping them into instruments of the new world we're building. A world free of weakness, free of chaos. We are here for something greater. I've spent so many years studying human behavior, and now I get to mold it. I'll guide them, I'll shape their thoughts, their loyalty, their very essence. The future of this country depends on Project Apex, and I'll be the one to ensure it succeeds. But can I really control them? I keep coming back to that question. What if they start to question us? I need to stay sharp. We can't afford failure. Offering Charlie the position of lead psychologist for Project Apex was exactly the move the Enclave would make to manipulate their star student into compliance. The first few weeks were exhilarating. The lab buzzed with energy, the weight of progress hanging in the air like static. Every day, Dr. Hargrove woke up with a sense of purpose, knowing Project Apex wasn't just another study. It was a legacy in the making, her legacy. Dr. Hatch aided her every step of the way. The soldiers emerged from the program faster, stronger, and sharper than any human should be, and obedient, so obedient. It was everything they had promised her. But the high didn't last. The quiet moments were the worst. When the labs fell silent and the soldiers stood in perfect, unblinking formation, Hargrove started to notice the small things, the way their eyes lingered on each other, not with camaraderie, but with a vacant sort of awareness, like they were trapped behind their own gaze. One day, she caught a soldier staring at his own reflection for far too long. He didn't move, he didn't blink, but when she called his name, he didn't answer. He just stared, hollow and still, until another doctor barked an order. Then he snapped back into place like nothing happened. It wasn't confusion in his eyes. It was something worse. Dr. Hatch noticed it too. He didn't say anything at first, just watched. He always watched. Quiet, careful, supportive in his own way. He wasn't like the others. He didn't celebrate the breakthroughs with cold efficiency. He seemed to mourn them. One evening, after the last of the soldiers had been filed away and the lab hummed with sterile quiet, Hatch approached her. He didn't lead with answers. He never did. He simply stood beside her, watching the empty room.
You're not wrong to notice,
Hatch continued, his voice steady but low.
and you're not wrong to care.
She looked at him, then searching his expression for judgment. There was none. If they wake up, she asked barely above a whisper, what happens to them? Hatch didn't hesitate.
Depends who wakes them up.
For the first time in a long time, she wasn't sure she wanted to stop it. I've been lying to myself. This isn't working. Today I saw the real cost of Project Apex. One soldier broke in a way I can't explain. He became so distraught, lost in a whirl of guilt and confusion, that he turned on his comrades, not in rage, but in fear. He was afraid of what he had become. He couldn't accept it. The fear, the confusion, it was human, too human. We've been so focused on perfection, on creating these machines of war, that we've forgotten the humanity inside them. They're more than just soldiers. They're still people, and we've forgotten that. I tried to push these thoughts out of my mind, but now I can't help it. What if we've crossed a line? What if we created perfect warriors, but we've done it at the cost of their very souls? They can't feel anymore. They can't think. They're just tools. The silence in the lab was suffocating. They cleaned the blood off the walls, scrubbed the floor until the smell of copper was replaced with antiseptic, but they couldn't erase what happened. Hargrove saw it every time she closed her eyes. The soldier's face contorted in fear and grief. Not fear of death, but fear of what he had become. They called it a failure. She called it a warning. She stayed late after the others left, watching the footage over and over. His last words weren't a scream or a plea. They were an apology. Not to his superiors, to his squad mates, to himself. The data reports called it an anomaly, an outlier, but Hargrove knew better. It wasn't an error in the programming. It was the truth breaking through the conditioning, and the truth was unbearable. She couldn't fix him. She couldn't save him, but maybe she could stop it from happening again. She wasn't sure when the thought became a decision. It felt less like a choice and more like an inevitability. If the Enclave wouldn't let them be human, she would make sure they remembered how to fight for it. even if it meant betraying everything she once believed in. She stared at the terminal, her hands shaking, as she rewrote the conditioning algorithms. Just a nudge, enough to bring doubt, to let them question the orders, to give them back a piece of what was stolen from them. She wasn't thinking about consequences. She was only thinking about the faces she couldn't forget, the hollow eyes, the trembling hands, the apology that never should have been necessary. They deserve more than this, even if it meant setting the whole damn project on fire. It's done. The sabotage worked. I never thought I'd resort to this. I thought I could control it. Thought I could fix things before they broke. But I couldn't. I couldn't live with myself anymore. Watching them turn into what they're meant to be, not people, just weapons. I manipulated their conditioning, just enough to make them question their orders. I thought I would create doubt and make them human again. Give them a choice. I don't know if I did the right thing. I don't even know if I'll survive what I've done. But I just couldn't stand by and let them become nothing. They were never meant to be just tools. They deserved a chance to think and to feel something other than the emptiness we've instilled in them. The Enclave will call me a traitor. They'll never forgive me. But I can't let them finish what they've started, not like this. Not at the cost of their souls. Dr. Hargrove woke up that morning knowing something was wrong. There was a tension in the air, an unspoken weight that seemed to settle into everyone around her. People moved differently. They were distracted, off kilter, like they could feel the shift even if no one said anything. Whispers filled the hallways. Emergency meetings, urgent memos passed between trembling hands. When Dr. Hargrove asked one of the officers what was going on, he merely shrugged, his eyes darting nervously. His hands trembled. That wasn't normal. Nothing about this day felt normal. She made her way to her office, still haunted by the events of the night before. The reports that sat on her desk should have been a priority. Charts and data and progress. But today, for the first time in her career, she couldn't bring herself to look at them. The experiments, conditioning, and control, it all felt meaningless. She had altered the soldiers' programming, changed everything. She had given them a chance to wake up and to become human again, just as the world was about to burn. She had given them that freedom in time for it to all be ripped away. The weight of the choice pressed against her chest. The Enclave wasn't interested in building a better world. They were only interested in control. They always had been. The lies that had propped up their mission, the lies that Dr. Hargrove had once believed in, were unraveling before her eyes. Deep down, she had known this day would come, the day the bombs would drop. She wasn't one of the ones they were saving. People like her, the ones that tried to change things, weren't meant to survive. They were expendable. The realization hit her with a sickening finality. All of them were. The reports, the numbers, the progress, it didn't matter anymore. It never had. So she left work early, unable to stay in her lab any longer. The streets outside her office were quieter than usual, but still people moved like they always did. A mother hurried past, pulling her child along, their heads down as they wove through the crowd. A businessman checked his watch with a faint frown, probably late for some meeting. A street vendor called out, his voice cheerful despite the tension in the air. They had no idea what was coming. No idea what had been done in the labs beneath their feet. No idea what Dr. Hargrove had set in motion. What she had just unleashed. And maybe that was for the best. She paused outside the Enclave compound's gates, where she had shared a quiet moment with Dr. Hatch just hours before. "I'll see you tomorrow, Hatch," she had said earlier, without fully believing it. There would be no tomorrow. She had to admit that now. He had been a rare constant in the shifting chaos of the Enclave, a reminder of the humanity she had tried to preserve. But even Hatch, brilliant as he was, hadn't fully understood the magnitude of what was happening. She hadn't told him everything. She couldn't. He was already too caught up in his own ambitions. "Goodbye, Hatch," she whispered to the wind. "I hope you'll understand one day." Dr. Reynolds had been in another story entirely. He had always been there for her, offering guidance when she doubted herself, holding her steady when the weight of it all seemed unbearable. But last night, before she left the lab, she had found herself standing in front of his office door, her hand hovering above the handle. She had nearly gone inside just to hear his voice, to find some sort of reassurance that it wasn't too late to turn back. But she had hesitated. She had left without saying goodbye. "I'm sorry, Reynolds," she murmured now, her gaze locked on the horizon. "You were right. I wasn't strong enough. But maybe you'll be able to fix it. Just not today."